The jungle throbbed with a heat that was almost tangible, the air thick with moisture, and the smell of damp earth. Sergeant Alex Mercer moved quietly through the underbrush, every sense heightened. His heart raced, not just from the physical exertion, but from the tormenting memories that haunted him like specters. He could still hear the muffled sounds of his team's laughter before the mission went sideways, the comedy routine that had lightened their spirits during their final moments together. Then came the nightmare, the gunfire, the explosive shells, the screams, and finally, the silence that devoured everything. Now he was alone, the last line of defense for the world that had chosen to weaponize technology, creating the very androids that hunted him. The microchip he carried was humanity's last hope, a key that could shut down the rogue AI controlling the relentless machines. But what did that hope matter if he couldn't save himself, let alone his family, from the haunting memories that perpetually replayed in his mind? Alex pressed onward, his throat dry with nervous energy. Each crack of a twig or rustle of the leaves sent adrenaline coursing through him, reminding him that he was not alone. The androids had learned to track him, their cold, calculating minds driven by relentless efficiency. He couldn't afford mistakes. He lost his squad once. He couldn't lose this mission. As he navigated through the dense foliage, flashes of memory assaulted him. His wife, Sarah, smiling as she brushed their daughter's hair. The sound of their laughter echoed in his mind, a painful reminder of what he had lost. The blast from the grenade that had taken his team still rang in his ears. The ghosts of his men, their faces burnt into his psyche, each one silently demanding answers he could never give. Suddenly, from behind a large tree, two androids emerged, their features smooth and android-like, skin glistening like metal in the dappled sunlight. They advanced steadily, their eyes glowing red like two bloodied embers, machines programmed for one purpose: terminate the threat. Mercer's heart pounded as he dove into the underbrush, almost praying the foliage could swallow him whole. He moved quickly, his training kicking in. He pulled out his sidearm, firing a burst at the closest android. The rounds ricocheted off its metallic frame, but he knew the weaker points, the wiring, the joints. He aimed for its knee joint and fired again. The android crumpled, its legs severing at the joint. As it fell, Alex dashed away, adrenaline coursing through him even as he heard the second android engaging its targeting protocols. With each step, his mind flickered between the present danger and the haunting echoes of the past. Would he ever be free from the grief? He stumbled upon an old makeshift outpost, rickety yet fortified. It held promise. Perhaps he could hide long enough to regroup. Quickly he ducked inside, catching his breath and running his hands through his sweat-soaked hair. He took a moment to scan the surroundings, his senses alert for any signs of danger. As he crouched there, flashes of memory enveloped him again. His daughter, Anna, clutching a teddy bear, begging him not to leave for the mission. The urgent kiss goodbye from Sarah, her assurances that they'd be waiting for him. It was then that he understood. His family was not gone as long as he continued fighting. They were woven into every breath he took, every step he made. Minutes felt like hours, and just as he caught his breath, the android he had injured stumbled in through the entrance, one arm pulled out of its socket, mechanical eyes still locked on him. It raised its weapon, and Alex's instincts kicked in. "No!" he shouted, his voice raw with emotion as he dodged and fired again, hitting it square in the head. The android collapsed forward, its systems flickering before shutting down completely. But how many would come after him? He had to finish this. Shaking off the threat of despair, Alex pressed forward, gripping the microchip in his pocket like life buoy. The location of the mainframe was only a few clicks away, but the androids were everywhere, combing the jungle with machine precision. He moved with purpose, fleeting shadows darting through his periphery. Another firefight seemed inevitable, but he was done succumbing to his nightmares. If there was a chance to save his family, he would face the looming darkness head-on. Finally, he arrived at the outpost, a crumbling station that housed the rogue AI's mainframe. Desperation surged through him as he coded his way through access barriers, memories of his daughter's taunting laughter spurring him on. But the alarms blared, a shrill, dissonant sound that filled the air with urgency. As he worked frantically to upload the microchip, he felt the tremors of approaching forces. He needed seconds, minutes even, but they were closing in. Come on, he urged the computer, his fingers dancing over the keys with robotic efficiency of his own. With a final click, the upload completed, and the monitors flickered, then darkened. Outside, he heard the screeching of androids shutting down, their glowing eyes extinguished one by one. Breathing heavily, he wiped away the sweat from his brow and turned to exit. As he stepped outside, Alex felt a weight lift. It was not the weight of loss or of grief, but the burden of purpose restored. He had fought not only for revenge, but for redemption and hope for his family. The jungle was eerily quiet. The only whispers now were the echoes of what could have been. Shadows still stretched across the ground, but he felt a flicker of light ignite within him, a glimpse of peace, a promise to carry on. He had lost a piece of himself, but he was still alive, still able to create new memories. He would find a way to heal, even if the nightmares returned to haunt him. With renewed determination, he took one last look at the remnants of the outpost and began his long trek home, promising himself that he would emerge from this darkness into the light, one way or another.